All right, I'd like to show you how we lay out tapes using the Stewart system, or glue system. This is a J3 Cub wing. We've already done the main tapes across the ribs. Now we're doing the false rib tapes. I'm going to show you two different methods for gluing the tapes. There's a couple different ways you could do this. First of all, my airplane partner has marked out where the tape should be. So we have this little guide that he made out of a blind, 2 inches wide, determined how far back to go there. And then what I've done is I've gone and cut the tapes to lengths. Well, first what I did was I cut a perfect straight line here, and I secured these just with a little bit of glue and just a little bit of heat to just tack them in place. And then I went over them again with some glue and wiped that off. And then as I went down the line, by the time you're done, when you come back to here, this glue would be dry. So now I'm just working one rib at a time. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you one method of gluing, which I prefer, which is now that this is secured, I'm gonna come through, I'm gonna saturate all of this, because this is already, pretty well stuck on there. I'm gonna saturate all of this, come back, flip this over, and then I'm gonna push the glue through by just kind of wiping this in, and I'm going to see the glue kind of come through the pores of the fabric there, and that's the indication that we've had full fabric adhesion. And then I'll go over it with some more glue over the top, and then I'll wipe clean. So let's show that first. Okay, so I'm going to take some glue here, just have a little bit. This is the Ekobond from Stewart Systems. So we're just going to pull this back just slightly. It's stuck, but it's not secured completely. The glue hasn't fully dried and cured. Now on this leading edge here, we actually have felt underneath this. We chose to do felt for a smoother leading edge. When you're doing the felt, you saturate the felt heavily with Ekobond, and it takes a couple passes to really get that felt totally saturated, and then you go over it with the fabric. But even so, I'll probably go a little heavy here in this spot, just because I want to saturate through this fabric, through the felt, and through this finishing tape. So here I'm just going to go up, and I want to make sure to just kind of get up to the line and maybe just a little bit outside of the line. Just want to make sure that I get the pinked edges. You'll find that when it comes to painting, it's a real pain in the neck when the pinked edges start to kind of pop up in the paint, and then you got to go along and iron them down after you put down the Eco Fill. And if you missed any, you got to do it again for the primer, because by the time you get to the top coat, you don't want any of that happening. All right, so I've got it pretty well saturated, so now I'm just going to lay this straight down, lining up inside the lines there. And I'll just use my fingers, get it to saturate all the way through. There's kind of an ugly pinked edge, came off the tape. That's okay, that'll lay down. And it's okay to pull on this because this is already secured enough for the moment. When it totally cures, this is a very strong joint, but for the moment, it's still possible for me to pull this off. But here I'm just making sure it's kind of pulling through. I don't care if it doesn't pull through every single pore, but just the majority of it here. Keep rubbing it in. Like I said, this is my preferred method. I think this gives the strongest joint. I'll show you another method, which I think still works, but I think this is better, just honestly. Okay, so now I'm gonna come back. So it's already through the pores there. Now I'll come back, do another top coat, paying particular attention to those pinked edges. I really want those pinked edges to seal down so they don't bother me later when after I'm painting, really. And then I go back and see that they're popping up. Like I said, because then you're going over them with a little hottie iron. All right, so making sure that's totally saturated, even going back over the leading edge spot that I already glued before. All right, clean piece of paper towel here, just fold it up, and we'll just go over it, wipe off the excess. Now you might be able to see from there, that's kind of a bad pinked edge. That's just from the tape roll. Since it's wet, it's not really easy to iron it down. I'll kind of remember to go back there. I may even take the pencil and just kind of a reminder. I'll put a little arrow there just to remind me to go back and make sure to iron down that little pink. That's it. So we're just making sure to wipe off excess glue so there's no ridges later. And this is going to dry and it's going to be extremely strong. So with the Stewart system, their strongest joint, and this is probably true of other fabric systems as well, is fabric to fabric. So this is not coming off. All right, so I'm going to show you the next system here. So this next system I think is still okay to do, but like I said, I prefer the one I showed you before. So here, we're just going to go ahead and, like before, we're going to saturate this. It's basically the same. Kind of stay inside the line. Doesn't matter as much. It's more just so you don't waste glue, I guess. Pull this back just a little bit, just so we can get glue down in that one spot. Not enough to make like a raised edge or anything. Paying some attention here to get some glue down into that felt. Just passing through the leading edge and the felt. That looks pretty good. Now instead of this time going through and trying to wipe it all, I can just go and start doing this. So it's not that different from the other way. Really, if you notice, what I skipped, a step I skipped here is pressing down the tape before I put on this top coat of glue. It's, you know, it'll slide here, so I can just make sure I'm right inside the lines. I can still do it again after I do another wipe. And there you go. So still a strong joint, maybe equally as strong, but I don't know. I think the other way is better. I'm just going to keep going with this whole glue up of the finishing tapes. So here I'm just going over it using that first method that I showed. You can see I'm just putting down a nice layer of glue, pressing it in, getting it to come through the fabric weave, and just working my way down one rib at a time. It's a pretty simple process. It's not difficult to do. Just take your time and it turns out really good. And just real quick, Stewart Systems, some great glue. It's very easy to use. There is no odor. I mean, I guess if I get really close, there's just the faintest odor, you know, in the glue there. I mean, it is so faint. You have to try to smell it. So not like other stuff where just about need a respirator if you don't need a respirator. So anyway, I do recommend it. It's good stuff. So.